It's the Rob Carson Show. Are you ready to be podsmacked? Now, here's Rob Carson.
Hello and welcome to episode number 148 of the Rob Carson Show podcast. For those of you who are tuning in for the second time on the Podcast Radio Network, I am a talk show host, video and audio podcaster, and nationally syndicated comedy writer. I have written material for hundreds of radio stations and radio programs. My material, my political satire has been featured on the Rush Limbaugh program since about 1990. So I've been doing it for a while. And by the way, if you want to download this podcast, all you got to do is go to iTunes. Just go to iTunes, type in Rob Carson Show. All right? iTunes, Rob Carson Show. Also on Facebook at Rob Carson Show and on Twitter at Rob Carson. There you go. Before we get started, we've got a ton of stuff to get to. We're going to get into a little bit with what I like to call how do you deal with a problem like Korea? We're going to talk about North Korea and should we be terrified? Should we be ducking and covering? We've got some funny stuff. There's a PSA in California that is running again about nuclear war and how to survive it. And when you hear it, you're just gonna lose it. And there's some political stuff, some not political stuff, but I guarantee you're going to have some fun in the next hour or so on the podcast. I do want to thank my sponsors, including Dr. Alex Nelson. If you're in the Kansas City area where I live, let's go to fountainoflifechiro.com. Chiropractic has saved me so many times, particularly my lower back and sciatica. I know when I throw my back out. I haven't done it for a while, but I know when it happened. And it just takes a minor tweak, and I go, oh, God, I'm going to be screwed. I'm going to be in bed. I'm going to be needing help to get out of bed. Chiropractic fixed it. You go to a host of sports medicine doctors. I have been told, no, you need this scan, you need that scan. Then I discovered chiropractic. Here is Dr. Alex Nelson's number, 816-741-4711, 816-741-4711. If you would just call him and say, hey, I heard Rob Carson talking about you on his podcast. Again, fountainoflifechiro.com. Also, Grass Monsters KC. They have some wonderful zero-turning radius mowers, American-made. They handle the Hustler brand. They also handle the Dixie Chopper, which is made, by the way, in Indiana. They're amazing. The Hustler is made in Kansas, like the Fast Track. It has a cutting deck. You can get up to 48 inches. 4-year, 400-hour warranty on the whole thing. And they are built to last literally for decades. Amazing. Grass Monsters KC, 5520 Raytown Road, Raytown, Missouri, grassmonsterskc.com. All right, let's get down to business here with what's going on in the world. We'll start with Korea.
I'm so lonely.
Any excuse to play
lonely.
Any excuse to play the song.
So lonely and sad, real alone. There's no one, just me only, sitting on my little throne. I work very hard and make up great plans, but nobody listens, no one understands. Seems like no one takes me seriously. And so I'm lonely. A bit of lonely. Pour it on me.
All right, so that is actually from Team America, and that's the son of King, or the dad of Kim Jong-un. That's Kim Jong-il. All right? But I thought, any excuse to play that song. Donald Trump this morning says that the U.S. military is locked and loaded against North Korea. So what are you saying? He issued another warning to North Korea on Friday with a reference to American weapons being locked and loaded. Here's the original statement the president made last week that started freaking people out.
Make any more threats to the United States, they will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen. He has been very threatening beyond a normal statement. And as I said, they will be met with fire, fury, and frankly, power the likes of which this world has never seen before.
Wow. Now, I heard Rush Limbaugh yesterday talking about the North Korean leader. That why are we so afraid of a pimple on a pig's rear end? North Korea has a lot of people in the military. Don't get me wrong. They have a lot of hardware. But they do not compare at all to the United States. I remember I was a little kid when Ronald Reagan called the Soviet Union an evil empire. And I mean, it frightened me. It frightened me. I'm not old enough. I wasn't in the duck and cover generation, but, you know, there was always that threat, the Cold War, growing up. So I was like, well, this guy's nuts. He might, and then he made that crack. He says, you know, we're going to be getting bombing in 5 minutes when he was off microphone. And that freaked everybody out. Donald Trump is the only world leader who has ever responded to crazy with crazy. And I'm talking about the rhetoric. All right. And normally the Kim Jong-un is ignored, you know, or there's some statesman-like statement. Donald Trump didn't back down after the Fire and Fury comment either.
Well, I don't think they mean that, and I think it's the first time they've heard it like they heard it. And frankly, the people that were questioning that statement, was it too tough? Maybe it wasn't tough enough. They've been doing this to our country for a long time, for many years. And it's about time that somebody stuck up for the people of this country and for the people of other countries. So, if anything, maybe that statement wasn't tough enough. And we're backed by 100% by our military. We're backed by everybody. And we're backed by many other leaders. And I noticed that many senators and others today came out very much in favor of what I said. But if anything, that statement may not be tough enough.
What would be tougher than?
The people that were questioning that statement, was it too tough? Maybe it wasn't tough enough. If anything,
Come on.
maybe that statement wasn't tough enough. That statement may not be tough enough.
I think it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough. Now, the president went on to say, when he was asked about a preemptive strike, he explained he's not going to say what he will do.
I'm not like the other administration that would say we're going into Mosul in 4 months. I don't talk about it. We'll see what happens. But I can tell you that what they've been doing and what they've been getting away with is a tragedy, and it can't be allowed. We'll always consider negotiations, but they've been negotiating now for 25 years. Look at Clinton. He folded on the negotiations. He was weak and ineffective. You look what happened with Bush. You look what happened with Obama. Obama, he didn't even want to talk about it. But I talked. It's about time. Somebody has to do it.
Wow. That's giving them what for? That's what that's all about. It's remarkable. I mean, it's remarkable. And spoken like a true New Yorker, really. That's how New Yorkers talk. I'm not worried about war with North Korea. The thing that I'm worried about is people over there dying, particularly those in Seoul, particularly those in Guam. And something's got to be done about the little bastard. Something's got to be done about it. You got to be taken out somehow. I know that General Mattis says there is a plan in place. I am so glad that Donald Trump appointed him to be defense secretary. This is kind of funny. I saw this online. Ventura, California, put together a PSA about being ready for a nuclear attack. Now you're thinking, 1950? No, this is 3 years ago. All right. I'm going to play a little bit of this. This is fantastic.
Oh no, it's blown. The cloud is in the sky. Don't run, no fun. You've got to get inside. You don't need to be scared. You don't need to be loud. Cause you can survive even a mushroom cloud.
Oh,
if you
wow.
want to be okay,
Yes.
gotta do what I say. So get inside and stay inside. Stay tuned to the news.
And try not to get evaporated.
If you want to be okay,
All right.
gotta do what I say.
Okay.
So get inside and stay inside. Stay tuned to the news.
All right. So that's what they say you should do. Go inside and stay tuned to the news if you want to survive a nuclear attack. Here is Maxine Waters being vague and maybe slightly disoriented about North
The
Korea.
United States State Department must be staffed up to deal in diplomacy.
Okay.
We cannot afford to be in a war, and I want us to be very careful, very alert
She's a wordsmith,
to what is happening, and
as long as the words don't have more than 2 syllables.
to avoid war. And so I think we can do this with some diplomacy, but we've got to have Tillerson, who is our Secretary of State, get those positions filled for deputy, for assistant, so that we can engage with North Korea. I believe that North
You going to take this leader a basketball signed by Kobe Bryant?
Korea is interesting threats to the United States, but I think there are some things that they want from us, and we have to find out whether or not we can work with them on the things that they're asking for.
No, it's not what they're asking for. It's what they're extorting for. That's what this is about. This is about extortion. This is about a temper tantrum. So we don't need to work with these a-holes. We need to make them suffer economically. North Korea, I guess their GDP is about $3 billion a year. It's not much. And the UN sanctions and Russia's on board and all that are they going to take away a third of North Korea's economy? People are already starving, okay? I mean, the people are already starving. The money's going towards Kim Jong-un, his regime, and the development of his military. So as far as making it worse on the people of North Korea, I don't know how it could get worse. All right, let's move on to other stuff, shall we? Let's talk about the eclipse. You're going to go see the eclipse. Where I live is right in the path of the eclipse. And there is some eclipse tourism, actually. It's kind of funny. I'm selling a guitar on Craigslist. I talked to a guy, and I said, well, when do you want to come and get it? He goes, well, I live in Oklahoma. Can we meet somewhere? I said, no, I'm not going to drive to Oklahoma or even halfway between here and Oklahoma. And he goes, oh, that's okay. I'm driving up to see the eclipse on the 21st. So he's going to come by and get the guitar, and we'll, give you my money. This is funny. A science museum in Dallas is holding a solar eclipse viewing party a week from Monday. And they have put it up on a Facebook page, and one of the moms who is, thinking about bringing the kid down there says, can you reschedule since it's the school night? People immediately started mocking her on social media, and she eventually deleted the comment. She must think she's pretty powerful if she can, delay an eclipse. Oh, by the way, the fake sunglasses are out there. A lot of people are selling fake sunglasses, unscrupulous people cashing in on the eclipse. Now, if I'm not mistaken, NASA's website has 5 reputable dealers. If you want to go to NASA's website, you should be able to get them there because they say staring at the sun without proper filtration, even when it's partially obscured by the moon, can damage or destroy photoreceptors and leaves blind spots in your field of vision. You'd think that there'd be a whole lot of blind people. I think it was 39 years ago, something like that. The last one happened. Solar-safe sunglasses have been around for more than 3 decades, but they've never been so widely to the public. By the way, this is the first time in 99 years that an eclipse will span the entire continental United States. Pretty interesting. 70-mile wide path across 14 states. It's a pretty big deal. Pretty big deal. I think it's, I think it's a little overrated, to be honest. I mean, it happens. It's one ball in space passing in front of another ball in space. One of them just happens to be on fire. It happens. It happens. Thousand Oaks Optical has sold enough of its filters this year to produce 100 million pairs of glasses. This is just unbelievable. So Penn State, or Peru State in Nebraska, lies right in the path of the eclipse, ordered 7,500 pairs of glasses for students, discovered the shipment from the Chinese distributor was defective. Came with safety certificates for ordinary sunglasses. They also had a funny nose and a mustache on them, so that might have been a dead giveaway that they weren't safe. They have since reordered them from a scrupulous supplier. So I would, if I were you, I'd check out the NASA site. This is something I've been telling my kids, and I thought this was interesting because I've never seen this happen. There are a couple things that don't happen in our car. The dogs don't ride in the front, generally. And the kids, you don't put your feet on the dashboard. Why don't you put your feet on the dashboard? Well, your feet are dirty. I don't want them on the dashboard. But also, there's the possibility that if you are in an accident, you're going to eat your knee. All right? You are going to eat your knee. You are going to get injured horrifically because when that airbag explodes out, it's going to drive your leg into your skull. Well, that happened to Audra Tatum of Walker County, Georgia. Here is her story.
Walking with her daughter. Audra Tatum is a little slower than she used to be. A limp in her right leg to blame.
And it's a reminder every day.
A reminder of the accident she barely survived 2 years ago.
A nightmare. A true, honest to God nightmare.
Audra was riding in the front seat, her husband driving her and their daughter to Audra's parents' house.
A car had came up at a stop sign and we was coming down the road. And he pulled out in front of us. I screamed. My husband locks down the brakes.
At 45 miles per hour.
There was no time to react. And we T-boned him. I was like hitting a brick wall.
Not only was Audra not wearing a seatbelt, but she was resting her foot up against the dash.
Yep. When the airbag exploded, it pushed my foot up into my face.
Bones in Audra's leg, foot, shoulder, and face crushed from the force.
Now I have 6 screws and a metal rod in my femur from where my femur broke into 4 places.
At the hospital, doctors told Audra if her foot had been on the floor,
I wouldn't have even went to the hospital.
Now, Audra wants to keep others from making the same mistake.
It took my career from me. It took so much from me in life, and 2 years, I'm still recovering.
Before her accident, Audra thought resting her foot on the dash was harmless. Today, she feels lucky to be able to limp beside her daughter.
Okay. Don't put your foot on the dash. Just think about it. And I'm just going to say one more thing. When an airbag explodes, it explodes at between 100 and 220 miles an hour. So imagine your leg flying into your face at 220 miles an hour. Okay. The dumbest story of the week coming up. Beyond dumb, it's political correctness at its absolute worst. I'm going to share the story in just a moment, and you are going to guffaw. SMU has reversed a controversial decision to relocate a 9/11 memorial after student groups accused the college of stifling free speech. Southern Methodist University in Texas, apparently on the main area of the campus, they have been able to put up this 9/11 memorial display, 3,000 American flags. The university said you got to move it to a much more remote part of the campus because it is harmful or triggering. It has harmful or triggering messages. Now, what the hell? I mean, I could say other things. I'm not going to say it, but what the hell? How could it be harmful to remember those who lost their lives? I guess it's a concern that Muslim students will be triggered by this, apparently. All right? Well, apparently, like I said, they've reversed this. Leader of the Young Americans for Freedom put it together, Grant Wolf. He says, I don't believe it's the responsibility of the university to shield individuals from certain ideas that they might be offended by. People absolutely have the right to their own opinions, but this does not come with the right to be shielded from opposing ideas, especially in an environment dedicated to the learning, sharing, and developing of new ideas. That's according to a letter this guy wrote to the president of the university. The governor got involved, also said that they need to, put this back to its traditional place of honor. And finally, reason, I guess, broke through. And they decided to move it back where people can see it. I get so sick and dang tired of this stuff, man. So tired of it. Dumbest story of the week. This is. Oh my goodness! I don't know how you come up with this stuff. There are so many ways to be offended. There are so many ways to take something as a trigger or whatever. School board in Portland, Oregon, has dropped the name Lynch from the names of 2 elementary schools, claiming it had negative connotations, made some people feel uncomfortable. It's named after some people about 100 years ago whose benevolence resulted in the donation of land for the schools to be built. All right, the move Wednesday evening by the Centennial School District also included a slight altercation in the name of the 3rd school, but the move has sparked criticism, including on social media, from some community residents and former students. They claim the board's decision is a sign of political correctness run amok. Duh. The district had received complaints in recent years from about the names of Lynch Meadows Elementary School, Lynch View Elementary School, and Lynch Wood Elementary School. It reminded them too much of lynch mobs and lynchings, conjuring the image of people being hanged by an angry mob. All 3 schools were named after the Lynch family. As I said, they donated the land. There's disagreement, by the way, over the derivation of lynch mob or lynching, where it came from. 18th century politician Charles Lynch could also refer to Captain William Lynch, who was an 18th century Virginian and proponent of quickly dispensed justice. So basically, complaints suggested that the names could make people feel uncomfortable with the word lynch. What about Loretta Lynch? I feel uncomfortable when I talk about her. There's I live in the Midwest now, and there is a famous salad dressing called Dorothy Lynch, and it's artificially orange and really, really sweet, but it's good. It's got poppy seeds in it. If you're going for a drug test, don't eat it. Used to have it. I mean, we had Dorothy Lynch all the time in the fridge when I was a kid. That aside, that would be offensive now. They'd have to change it to Dorothy. On Wednesday, the school board agreed to drop Lynch from the Lynch Meadows and Lynch Wood Elementary, but it agreed to rename Lynch View Elementary as Patrick Lynch Elementary School. As Sharon Gard, the school board's chairman, told the community Wednesday, we have children of color and other cultures, and we want to make sure that they are able to cross the threshold of those 3 schools and be comfortable in their surroundings. After the school board's decision, which again was stupid, one local resident said, I'm just disheartened because where will this stop? Any moment, someone could be offended by a name. Do we keep changing the name of everything? That would be the question, right? There's a Facebook group called Lynch Meadows Elementary, and they're saying, we're not going to change the name of the group. We're not going to do it. The former student, Rob Grimes, criticized the school on his Facebook page, calling the school board's decision pure ignorance. He accused the board of disrespecting the Lynch family that donated the land, and he did. Quote, this is just pure ignorance and playing to the fears or concerns of the very few. And even then, it's not even fear. It's not even fear. There's no fear involved. It's somebody being nitpicky. There's no threat because the last name Lynch is on a building. Are you out of your mind? This is about busybodies nitpicking history to find something to be offended by, to claim victimhood status. That's what's going on. That's what this is all about. Just stupid. Stupid. You knew this was going to happen. That letting your kid play football would be called child abuse. I said this. I said this months and months and months ago. I said, sooner or later, with all of these studies out that say that CTE is caused by football, playing football, that wouldn't letting your kid play football be tantamount to child abuse. And I said it tongue-in-cheek. Well, the Sports Illustrated piece detailing Bennett Amalu's characterization of football as child abuse falsely labels him as a doctor credited with discovering chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Encephalopathy. There you go. I did it. Nailed it. He said someday there will be a district attorney who will prosecute for child abuse on the gridiron, and it will succeed. It is the definition of child abuse. Now, studies are actually coming out that say that football players, kids in high school football players, for instance, a study out in Wisconsin, 4,000 high school students, no statistically significant harmful association of playing football. Study by the Mayo Clinic says our findings suggest that playing American football in high school did not increase the long-term risk of developing dementia. All right. Unbelievable. Oh, yeah, OJ's Bronco, did you see it on Pawn Stars? Why did they choose Pawn Stars? You know? $500,000 is what they're going to sell this thing for. Well, what's the point? Honestly, what is the point in buying a truck that was sold for what, $20,000? Probably in 1994, 93 when they bought it. $500,000 for this. Are you gonna open an OJ museum? Are you what? I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. Although I do like that model of Bronco. I wouldn't mind having one. Wouldn't mind it. So this is, by the way, the most expensive thing he has attempted to sell at the pawn shop. The last thing was $128,000 in gold bars. So that's I guess it's coming up. The Pawn Stars episode has not happened yet. Good news on the economy. I'm going to share that story with you in a second. I think you're going to like it. Latest warning. You should be worried about. When you're outside in the summer and you're a kid, what was the best way to get hydrated? Drinking out of the garden hose, right? Of course, you got to run it first to get all the hot water out of it. But yeah, Cleveland Clinic Dr. Dan Allen says that drinking from a garden hose has risks. Some of the chemicals in the garden hose include BPA or PVC. They can increase your risk of cancer, hormone problems, or neurological problems. Can also affect development in children. All right? Dr. Allen says if you do drink from the hose, use one made of natural rubber. So I don't think that that shrinking hose that they sell, which we had one, by the way, the incredible shrinking hose, whatever the heck that is. Pocket hose. It was called pocket hose. Boy, what a piece of crap that was. I mean, it was just, did you get a pocket hose? Ours lasted about a week before it started springing leaks all over the place. I think they've made a better version of it. I'm not sure. Not sure. U.S. job openings soar to record highs as demand for labor increases. That's good. United States job openings, record highs in June as the demand for labor continues to rise. And it looks like it's continuing. That's a positive. And also, check this out. American confidence in the economy reaches a 16-year high. Americans are more confident about the economy now than in the past 16 years, according to a new report on the Consumer Comfort Data released Thursday of this week, which was the 10th. Bloomberg reported that Americans felt more optimistic about the economy. Yeah, and even poor people, lower-income Americans say that they are feeling more confident about the economy. By the way, since this president took office, 1 million jobs have been created in the country. 230,000 in the month of June alone. So, something's working, kids. Something's working. I've got some food news that I'm going to share with you in a few minutes. And I've got some university stupidity coming up. Oh, and 17 movies that couldn't be made today. Not because they're politically incorrect. It's because the advent of the technology we have now versus when the movies was on would make the plots impossible. I'm going to share that with you in just a second. If you're considering chiropractic care and you live in Kansas City, consider Dr. Alex Nelson. He's a young guy. He is a really, really bright guy. And I'm going to tell you, there's nothing better for aches and pains, for back pain, low back pain, shoulder pain, carpal tunnel neuropathy, hip pain. Dr. Alex Nelson takes care of firefighters, first responders, and athletes. I cannot. Decompression for herniated low back disc is so valuable, and he can do it for you. FountainofLifeCairo.com, FountainofLifeCairo.com. Or here's his number, 816-741-4711, 816-741-4711. Food news. I think the reason why restaurants are adding fast food restaurants are adding crazier stuff to their menus is the availability of marijuana in the country. It's much higher than it used to be. There's a pop-up restaurant in New York City, and it's going to serve food only made with Cheetos. Okay? Yeah, somebody smoking pot came up with this, for sure. Here are some things that you can check out at this pop-up restaurant. By the way, the pop-up restaurant is called the Spotted Cheetah. All right? I think it's great because I love Cheetos. Cheetos are spectacular. Cheesecake with the Cheetos crust. Nachos that use Cheetos instead of tortilla chips. Well, that makes sense. I'd sprinkle just the crispy fried Cheetos, maybe the Flamin' Hot on nachos. Come on. And I'm not even stoned. Tacos with chicken, veggies, and Flamin' Hot limon Cheetos on top. Mac and cheese made with white cheddar and a Flamin' Hot Chipotle Ranch Cheeto crust. Oh, hell yeah. Grilled cheese with cheese, bacon, tomatoes, and Cheetos, of course. Yeah. I love that. Don't you love that? Putting chips or Cheetos on a sandwich. Just the best, right? Just the best. Oh, and I've got a few food stories that I think you're going to find interesting. Researchers at Yale University say that diet drinks trick your brain into making you fatter and possibly trigger diabetes. Okay. When a drink is too sweet for the calories it contains, the brain becomes confused, apparently. Doesn't register that calories have been consumed, which could lead someone to end up eating more, among other things. I have not had a Diet Coke. See, when was Lent? So it's about 6-7 months. About 6-7 months that I have not had a Diet Coke. And I have switched to regular sugar, like with my McDonald's coffee that I'm drinking right now, which is quite delicious. An iced coffee. Just coffee, 1 sugar. Quite delicious. Just because, these artificial sweeteners, we've tried so damn hard to take the calories out of stuff, that we're creating these chemicals that were never meant for human consumption. They never lived. They were never part of an organism. They were fake. I got a friend who's he's a lifestyle expert, Will Jarrow. Or I'm sorry, Will Clower is his name. I was thinking of another friend. Will Clower, and he says, Cool Whip is not food. It's not food. It isn't. It is not. There's nothing about Cool Whip that is food. Not saying that it's not great, but it never was alive. There was nothing in there that's food. Another one. Which fast food restaurant do you suppose generates the most revenue per location? What do you suppose it is? Would you believe Chick-fil-A? Isn't that wild? Apparently, Chick-fil-A open 6 days a week, closed on Sunday. Most revenue per restaurant in the U.S., according to the latest report by QSR Magazine, whatever that is. Chick-fil-A raked in revenues of $4.4 million per restaurant. What's next? Whataburger, $2.7 million per restaurant. Pretty wild. El Pollo Loco, 1.4. Bojangles Chicken, 1.8. Popeyes, 1.4 million. Boston Market, 1.4. Wingstop, 1.1. KFC, 1 million. Yeah, interesting. By the way, positives about Chick-fil-A is that Well, 60 to 70% of Chick-fil-A business is through the drive-thru. Customers like the fact that employees say thank you, order accuracy of 97%, pleasant demeanor, 9 out of 10 visits. Customers find the drive-thru process to be amiable due to the face-to-face ordering process in which employees stand outside the restaurant taking orders on tablets, improving accuracy. Yeah, it's good. I like it. I like it. I love me some Chick-fil-A. Oh, Taco Bell. Oh, again, this is because of pot. This is because of pot. Taco Bell is testing a new food item that uses spicy popping crystals reminiscent of Pop Rocks. All right? This can be pretty interesting. The firecracker burrito contains beef, rice, nacho cheese, and tortilla strips. Comes wrapped in a red tortilla. You can also get a spicy version with the chipotle sauce. The pièce de résistance is that you get a packet with cayenne popping crystals. It's an extra 20 cents. The burrito costs $1.29. It's only available right now at 4 locations around the country. I don't know, man. Popping hot sauce. I don't know. I'm a hot sauce fiend, by the way. And I like Taco Bell's, their fire sauce and their Diablo sauce. I like them both. I think they're terrific. Another kind of food story, vegetarians almost twice as likely to suffer from depression as those who consume a conventional balanced diet, according to a new study. 10,000 Brits they studied. Vegetarians more likely to develop depression due to vitamin and mineral deficiencies that can negatively impact their mental health. Apparently, the vegetarians' diet tended to feature lower amounts of vitamin B12. Also might mention greater intake of nuts that contain omega-6 fatty acids, which has been linked to an increased risk of mental health problems. Well, they're called nuts. Oh. You know, by the way, slightly more than 50% of vegans and 7% of vegetarians have a vitamin B deficiency. I've never seen a healthy-looking vegan. I never have. Never have. Plus also, it's depressing. You're sitting there at the table. Maybe you're out to dinner with a friend, and you're eating a salad, and that friend is eating a steak. I'd say that's pretty depressing. I'd be really, really depressed if I had to watch somebody eat a steak while I'm eating a friggin' salad with nuts on it. My son went vegan for about a month as part of a dare. Just unbelievable. University madness. Some university madness. I have a 17-and-a-half-year-old. He's going to be 18 years old in November. He's going to be going to college next fall, and I'm worried about him going to school because he's a white boy. He's a white man. Public enemy number one on university campuses. Students at Brandeis University are offering a $10,000 social justice journalism grant. $10,000. Do not apply if you're white or male. Don't. They want women and ethnic minority candidates. Quote, the initiative invites applications from 2 communities, journalists of color and women journalists. Pioneered with support from the Ford Foundation, this is the 2nd consecutive year that grants and matching fellowships will be offered to help journalists of diverse backgrounds, widely recognized as underrepresented in the ranks of U.S. independent investigative reporters, to report and write stories about unreported or underreported social justice issues. The Brandeis website argues that without introducing a greater diversity in journalism, some very important stories will never be told. Because white people can't tell stories. White men can't tell stories, right? Without gender diversity in journalism, some very important stories are never pitched, some assignments never made, facts never gathered, and serious abuse of power never uncovered. So there you go. It's okay to hate white boys. It's okay to discriminate against white people. Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Speaking of social justice, there's a Oregon State University. They're offering a course, Fat Studies. how weight-based oppression is a social justice issue. Social justice. Get a job with that social justice degree, you moron. According to the syllabus for the course obtained by Campus Reform, students will examine body shape or body weight, shape, and size as an area of human indifference or human difference subject to privilege and discrimination that intersects with the other systems of oppression based on gender, race, class, age, sexual orientation, and ability. Again, white boys need not apply. The person putting this together, Professor Patty Lou Watkins, argues that there's a growing war on obesity has actually caused more harm than good, saying many who attempt to lose weight suffer psychological consequences. My course now frames body image disturbances more as a function of oppressive societal structures than of individual pathology. You know, God, I hate university speak. It's just gobbledygook. It's gobbledygook. And they love that, the mental masturbation of saying things like, my course now frames body image disturbances more as a function of oppressive societal structures than of individual pathology. It's just, they like to think they sound smart. They want everybody to know they're smart. Really, really smart, because they use words like that. Oh, by the way, Youngstown State University, some students have put together a change.org petition. They don't want Chick-fil-A on campus. They want it gone. Because of its homophobic behavior. They don't believe in gay marriage, you see. Heather Lorner, an associate professor in genetics, is behind this, said that the restaurant is a veritable hotbed of fried food for homophobes, and that she fully supports the petition created by students within the university. I'm a professor at YSU. I have not set foot up there since they became Chick-fil-A a long time ago. It used to be a respectable place where you could take an invited speaker out to lunch or even have table service. You can still do that because, man, the food is really good. We now have no such place, and I will not support fried food for homophobes. These people are so, I mean, you could not pull a needle out of their butts with a tractor. I swear, can you just lighten the hell up? Can you just lighten up? Honestly. What kind of person would grab Taylor Swift's behind? Yeah, what's going on? Did you hear about this court case? David Mueller used to work at a radio station in Denver, and Taylor Swift apparently was in town, and he took a picture with Taylor Swift, and apparently she's saying he reached up under her skirt and grabbed, quote, a handful of my ass. He grabbed my bare ass under my skirt. He stayed attached to my bare ass cheek as I lurched away from him. It was a definite grab, a very long grab. Now, Mueller is suing her for $3 million because he got fired. There was a picture on the web that shows his hand behind her, but it doesn't show, you can't see anything. I heard a bodyguard said he saw the grab. She is denying responsibility for getting fired. She says, I'm being blamed for the unfortunate events of his life that are a product of his decisions, not mine. I don't feel anything about Mr. Mueller. I think what he did was despicable and horrifying and shocking. Taylor is suing him in return. She wants nothing more than a $1 token judgment holding him responsible. I don't know. I don't think she'd make it up. And it sounds like he was pretty, I heard boozed at the time, but still, who grabs Taylor? Who grabs Taylor Swift's butt? You know, I mean, if she allows you to, I'd say he's a pretty lucky guy. But, you know, who does that? Who does that? Coming up, I have what could be the worst version of the national anthem ever. This is pretty funny. Let me grab it real quick here. And I don't... I think the woman was blasted drunk. Demo derby at the Summit County Fair in Utah. Tons of people complained. She had to, the fair issued an apology. Here's a little bit of this woman who's unidentified as she tried to sing the national anthem.
Whose broad stripes and bright stars
Wow.
Through the perilous
Okay, let's go to the end. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Pretty bad. Pretty bad. Really bad. Oh, I want to get to those movies. Let me find that movie story. I want to tell you about the story, the movies that could not happen in 2017. You ready for this? Movies that could not be made today for a variety of reasons. For instance, 16 Candles. Thanks to Facebook notifications, nobody would have forgotten Samantha's birthday. Yeah. So there you go. That's one movie. Pretty Woman. Pretty Woman could not be made today. Edward would have never gotten lost because he would have looked up directions on his phone and thus would have never met Vivian. I didn't even know their names were Edward and Vivian, to be quite honest. All right. Home Alone. Kevin could have just called or texted his parents. That's fairly obvious. That's very obvious. My cousin Vinny, the two kids wouldn't have been wrongly accused because every convenience store now has security videos. All right, that makes sense. Mrs. Doubtfire. Miranda would have Googled Mrs. Doubtfire before trusting her to watch her kids and would have found out that Mrs. Doubtfire did not exist. Okay? Psycho. Marion Crane probably would have booked a hotel online. If not, she could have looked up the Bates Motel and found that it had no reviews or really negative reviews. Sleepless in Seattle. Jonah wouldn't have called into a radio show to find a woman for his dad. He would have made him an online dating profile. So those are some movies that could not be made in 2017 because of tech. Kind of weird, though, right? Isn't it kind of weird that the tech has changed so much that it makes the aforementioned movies completely obsolete? It says here, okay, this is a Die Hard. Detective McClane would have called 911 at his cell phone way before he had a chance to kill Tony and take his radio. Law enforcement probably would have gotten there way soon and saved a lot of lives. How many people died in that movie? Like a couple, right? Hans Gruber. A couple other people. The guy, Mr. Nakatomi. All right. This is something that I find maddening and sickening at the same time. New York, I could never live in New York City. There's no way. It's too damned expensive. And they do things like taxing sugary beverages. And now New York City is raising the minimum price of cigarettes to $13 a pack. $13 a pack. New York City Council voted this week to raise the minimum price of a pack of cigarettes to $13 and ban their sales in pharmacies. This is totalitarian. This is dictatorial. What's to stop them from going after anything else? Is it being regulated as a drug? Is nicotine being regulated as a drug? Is that how they're doing in New York? I don't know. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio personally introduced the plan to city lawmakers in April and is expected to sign the legislation, according to the New York Daily News. Minimum price for a pack of cigs in New York is currently $10.50, while the average price is $11.23. They're going to raise the price to $13 an hour. Now, where does this stop? Say you're a big believer in global warming. Well, can you raise the price of a gallon of gas, the minimum price to a gallon of gas to $5 or $10? Is that what's next? Because this is the slippery slope we're dealing with here. By raising the price even further, city health officials believe more people will stop smoking. As bargain cigarettes are forced to increase prices, we speculate that premium brands may increase their prices too to maintain separation from the lower tier of the market, Department of Health spokesnazi Christopher Miller said. The bill passed 33-9. Councilman Steve Levin, former smoker, voted against it because it hits smoking addicts in the pocketbook. Well, cigarette price is just one of the 7 bills passed by lawmakers aimed at reducing the use of tobacco in the city. In addition, the minimum price increase, there will be an additional 10% tax on non-cigarette tobacco products, a cap on tobacco retailers, can't sell, only so many be able to sell it, a rise in the cost for tobacco selling license. Unbelievable. Just make the damn stuff illegal. Why don't you just have the cojones and make tobacco illegal? They won't do that. They love that sweet tax revenue. Lawmakers also imposing restrictions on e-cigarettes by requiring a license to sell them, including them in areas where smoking is banned. Unbelievable. Just nanny state the hell out of everybody. It's just disgusting. Puerto Rico, they're banning smoking in cars with kids. If you smoke with the kid in the car, you're a douchebag. I'll just say that. When I was a kid, and this was a different time, I was a little boy in the 70s, my dad would actually yell at me for rolling down the window so I could get some fresh air in the car because he'd smoke. And it was awful. And I literally, it was like, when a car goes underwater and there's somebody inside it and you're, kind of trying to breathe that little bit of air that's still in the top of the ceiling. That's what it looked like. I'd hold my mouth up to the crack in the window so I could breathe fresh air. Awful. Violators now face a $250 fine for lighting up in a car when someone under 18 is present, raising the age limit from a 2000 law that set it at 13. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of making the police do more, but I do find this despicable. 8 U.S. states, Arkansas, California, Louisiana, really, Louisiana? Maine and Arkansas, really? Oregon, Utah, Vermont, and Virginia have enacted similar laws with age limits ranging from 8 to 18. And Ohio is considering legislation that would penalize smoking in the car with children under 6 with a fine of $500. $500. Wow. Yeah. Don't smoke in the car. I think this is a pretty cool deal. Last month, Major League Baseball said they're going to relax the dress code for Players Weekend on Friday, August 25th through Saturday, the 27th. Players will be allowed to wear their nicknames on the back of their jerseys. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that the jerseys are going to be sold for charity. I'll have to double check on that. But it's kind of fun. Some of the nicknames they chose, Tommy Hunter of the Rays chose Tommy Two Towel. Trevor Bauer of the Cleveland Indians chose Bauer Outage. Todd Frazier of the Yankees, the Todd Father. Oh, jeez. Lucas Duda of the Tampa Bay Rays just chose Dude. That's a cool name, Duda. Wellington Castillo of the Baltimore Orioles chose Beef, as in Beef Wellington. Kyle Seager of the Mariners chose Corey's brother. His younger brother, Corey, plays for the LA Dodgers, won Rookie of the Year last year, so he's going with that. Aaron Judge chose All Rise. Judge, All Rise. I get it. That's funny. Carl Edwards Jr. of the Chicago Cubs chose Charles Jr. Now, players normally not able to wear brand names on their jerseys, but he got away with it because he is Carl Jr. Andrew Triggs of the Oakland Athletics chose trigonometry. All right. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. I haven't made it out to the ballpark this year. Have not made it out this year. It's too expensive when you don't have a job. David Letterman coming out of retirement for a Netflix talk show. He's going to make his TV return with a new network series 2 years after signing off. They don't have a name for it. Thinking they might do the David Letterman show. I don't know. He's going to do in-depth interviews with guests, also feature some investigative segments produced outside the studio. He says, I feel excited and lucky to be working on this project for Netflix. Letterman said of the hour-long 6-episode series, here's what I have learned. If you retire to spend more time with your family, check your family first. Thanks for watching. Drive safely. Okay. I'm not a big fan of David Letterman. He just became kind of a douche. just became kind of a douche. He was my idol when I was growing up. He was my idol. I wanted to be like David Letterman. And I'm just not a big fan anymore. Christians more than twice as likely, to blame a person's poverty on lack of effort. Washington Post, the Kaiser Foundation, asked 1,686 American adults to answer the question and found that religion is a significant predictor of how Americans perceive poverty. Christians are more likely than non-Christians to view poverty as the result of individual failings, especially white evangelical Christians. Of course, it's a hit piece on white Christians. Of course it is. There is a strong Christian impulse to understand poverty as deeply rooted in morality, often as in the Bible. The Bible makes clear in unwillingness to work, in bad financial decisions, or in broken family structures. Here's the cool thing about Christians, particularly white Christians. I should say all Christians. But I was just referring to the, white evangelical Christians here, right? They're more likely to help you when you are in poverty. In fact, I would say the biggest driving force in giving in the world, in world history, would be from Christianity. Say what you want to say about it. Depression and no. Christians are pretty cool about giving. They really are. They really are. All right. I've got something I want to do here that I think could be kind of fun, actually. The worst songs, most banned songs at weddings. These are songs that people say, you know what? I do not want this played at my wedding. All right? I'm going to give you, let's see. I'll give you the top three. I'll play the top three, not the whole song. Not the whole song. But number 5 is YMCA by the Village People, and I'm just so done with that song. I've heard it sung at every damn restaurant in the world. No. Cupid Shuffle, as my dogs bark in the background. Cupid Shuffle. I don't even know what that is. But apparently that is a song that people don't want to hear. Some other ones in the top, well, I've got 40 of them here, but I'm not going to do them all. Sweet Caroline, Neil Diamond. Yeah, getting to be cliche. Single Ladies, Beyonce, Don't Stop Believin' Journey. Yeah, Dancing Queen, ABBA. If you still want women to get on the dance floor, you play that, but it's getting a little old. Celebration, Kool and the Gang, Burnt to a Crisp, Cha-Cha Slide. Oh, yeah, Cha-Cha Slide. Hold on. Here, let's get into the top 3 here. This is number 3, most banned wedding song. Yeah. Maybe in 1996, it would be okay. Oh, boy. Yeah. All right. Number 2 most banned wedding song, Cha-Cha Slide by Mr. C, the Slide Man. Didn't even know that was by that guy.
We're gonna get funky.
Yeah, it's getting old.
Funky.
Throw Electric Slide in there, too, right?
Clap, 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 clap your hands.
Yeah.
Clap, 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 clap your hands. All right, now, we're going to do the basic step. To the left. Take it back now, y'all.
Okay, I've had enough. I can't take any more. Number 1 most banned song at weddings that couples do not want played. Yeah, the chicken dance. Uh-huh. What a stupid song. Hey, really? What a stupid song. Everybody goes around and everything. Okay. Hokey Pokey's on the list, too. Most obviously, sure. Okay. That's going to do it for the podcast. Here's what I'd love you to do. Thanks for listening, by the way, the Podcast Radio Network. If you want to download this podcast, which has been pretty fun, just go to iTunes, look up Rob Carson Show, iTunes, Rob Carson Show. If you download it, I would be forever in your debt, okay? It would be really, really cool. You can write me, carsonontheradio@gmail.com. You can also find me on Facebook at Rob Carson Show. I want to thank Dr. Alex Nelson at fountainoflifecairo.com as a sponsor. Also, Grass Monsters KC as a sponsor of the radio program. They do make it possible. Again, if you get a chance to download the show, iTunes, the preferable way. It is available on TuneIn. It is available on iHeartRadio as well. But thanks for listening, guys. God bless, and we will see you again for episode number 149 soon.
Thanks for listening to The Rob Carson Show. Friend him on Facebook at Carson Show, on Twitter at Rob Carson, and on Instagram. I think Facebook and Twitter are enough for now. We'll see you soon.
Right now,